Welcome to the first of 7 modules on lifestyle changes you can make to reduce your risk of dementia. This module is on sleep. First, this advice. Often sleep problems have a medical cause. If you have a serious problem with insomnia, please see your doctor. He or she can treat medical causes or, if necessary, prescribe behavior cognitive therapy for insomnia, which has helped many people in the past. For the rest of you, in this module, we will spend most of our time on the connection between sleep and the brain, and how you can improve your sleep to decrease your risk of dementia. But first I want to point out that sleep offers many other benefits besides cognitive health. Sleep will make accidents less likely. Accidents are the third leading cause of death in the United States behind heart disease and cancer. For older people, falls are the leading cause of fatal injuries. How many result from drowsiness? How many burns and cuts? On highways, drowsy driving causes up to 6,000 fatal crashes each year according to the National Traffic Safety Administration. So good sleep can literally save lives. Good sleep also helps you lose weight. It will cheer you up and guard against depression. Sleep will decrease your stress and improve your immune system. Decrease your risk of chronic diseases. 80% of older adults have at least one chronic disease and 77% have 2. Many of these diseases like heart trouble, respiratory illnesses, and diabetes increase your risk of dementia, but sleep can help protect you from the effects of those diseases. Basically, sleep is the most natural prescription for health that any doctor can offer you. Sleep costs nothing, and its side effects are all healthy. Better learning, memory, daily decision-making and choices, better mood, creativity, and connectivity. To get us started, please complete the brief quiz entitled Sleep, Fact or Fiction. I hope that helped point out what you already knew about sleep. In this next section, I'm going to cover how sleep affects the brain specifically with 4 lessons. Lesson 1. What's happening in your brain while you sleep? Lesson 2. The circadian rhythm and sleep. Lesson 3. Syncing your circadian rhythm for better sleep. And Lesson 4. New habits for better sleep. Let's get started. Lesson 1. What's happening in your brain while you sleep? As people age, sleep tends to become more difficult. It's harder to fall asleep and harder to stay asleep. Older people wake up 3 to 4 times every night, and they spend less time in a deep sleep. As people age, the signs and symptoms of dementia also increase. Starting at age 65, the incidence of dementia doubles approximately every 5 years. After age 85, the risk reaches 1 out of 3. Could these two circumstances be connected? In other words, if we improve our sleep, will we also decrease our risk of dementia? The answer, according to many people studying dementia, is yes. And they base that on everything that happens in your brain while you sleep, and how all this helps you keep your brain healthy. Compare what is happening in your brain during the day and during the night. During the day, your brain focuses on what you want to do. It sends all the signals to keep you active and productive. At night, while you sleep, your brain turns inward and takes care of itself. Have you ever watched car racing? Do you hate it when a car has to pull in for a pit stop? It's so much more fun to see the cars on the course racing around other cars. But you know what will happen if the cars don't stop to refuel or get repairs. They'll end up stalled somewhere on the track with no chance of victory. The pit stop is vital and so important to the race that in many ways what happens in the pit stops determines who wins the race. The same is true for your brain. In many ways, your brain's pit stop, in other words, sleep, is vital to your health, and how well you sleep will determine how well you do during the day, how well you think, remember, solve problems, and all the other things that you do during the day. So what exactly is it that happens during sleep that is so important to your cognitive health? Here are 4 things that happen during sleep. Your brain removes waste. Your brain organizes your experiences. Your brain generates new cells. Your brain soaks you in a bath of hormones. I'm going to discuss each of these with a little more depth because knowledge is power. Knowledge motivates. Knowledge will give a reason to your efforts to improve your sleep. First, waste removal. Your brain uses a lot of energy, and in the process it generates a lot of debris that floats around loosely in the brain. This debris includes toxins, bacteria, and other waste products like damaged or dead cells. All this debris has to be cleaned out or the brain will be damaged, especially the little bits of protein that can collect in the brain. If left in place, these bits of protein clump together to form plaques. These plaques are one of the hallmarks of Alzheimer's dementia. So to stay healthy, you need a way to get rid of all this junk. During the day, your brain is too busy doing what you want it to do. Think of the race car. When it's on the track, how could refueling or maintenance be possible? A car on the racetrack, that's your brain during the day. But during sleep, the brain can do something about all these waste products. It's actually a very elegant process. During sleep, your cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF, flows through the spaces between your brain cells, gathering up all the waste products. The CSF then flushes all of them out of your brain. We call this process the glymphatic system. If it helps, you can think of this process as what happens after everyone leaves an office building in the evening. A cleaning crew comes in and empties trash baskets and sweeps floors, dusts what needs it, and cleans the bathrooms so everything is fresh and neat for the next day. In the same way, after sleep, the glymphatic system leaves your brain fresh and clean and ready for another day. How awful if this process can't happen. Do you remember the 1968 sanitation workers' strike in New York City? Over the course of a 9-day strike, 100,000 tons of trash accumulated in the city, creating a stench, blocking sidewalks, and spilling onto streets. The city declared a general health emergency, the strike was settled, and eventually the trash was removed. If you don't get enough sleep, you'll be creating a similar disaster in your brain. So that's the first thing your brain does to keep itself healthy as you sleep. It removes the waste that could end up damaging your brain. Second, during sleep, thought consolidation happens. During sleep, your brain also stabilizes what you learned during the day. This process is called consolidation. During this process, your brain takes all the chaos of your day, all the messages you've received, all the thoughts and ideas you've had, and reorganizes everything so that it makes sense. It's similar to what happens in a computer. When you write a letter on the computer, everything you write goes into a temp file until you either save the information or discard it. Something similar happens in your brain. All the memories you accumulated throughout the day go into a temp file in a part of your brain called the hippocampus. When you sleep, your brain evaluates those memories. It discards some and transfers others to the part of your brain called the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is a sort of hard drive in your brain that stores and uses important information. That's why, so often, when we wake up in the morning, we know what to do next on a project, or have an idea for a family event, or a solution to something that has been concerning us. As for what your brain discards, that's important too because there's a lot a healthy mind needs to forget. Our over-emotional responses to events, our moments of rage, flares of despair, deep sadness, or fear that can sometimes feel like an attack. Consolidation puts these things into perspective. Because forgetting helps us get rid of our emotional responses, forgetting is a gift. We may remember that something has happened, but we no longer react to the memory. Because sleep becomes so difficult for them, people with PTSD or depression or other mental problems miss out on the relief that comes from this forgetting. And when people have difficulty forgiving each other and instead carry grudges day after day, not only does their sleep suffer even more, research does prove this, but stress adds another burden to their brain and loneliness a third burden, and all of this can contribute to dementia. So let's review. Consolidation helps you think more clearly, and it allows us to discard unhealthy emotional responses, grudges, and fears so that we can wake up with more optimism and hope. Third, during sleep, your brain renews and replenishes brain cells. For a long time, we thought that once a brain cell died, it could never be replaced. Do you remember learning that? This just isn't true. We know now that your brain can repair and regenerate its brain cells, and especially in the area of the brain called the hippocampus, the brain center of learning and memory. This is the area where problems with memory originate, the place where damage from dementia is first apparent. As dementia progresses, fewer and fewer cells are available in the hippocampus to do the work required from this part of the brain. So if we can repair and replenish cells in the hippocampus, our risk of dementia will decrease. So what does all this have to do with sleep? The answer is a very helpful protein that is released into your brain when you sleep. This protein is called BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor, and it's important because it encourages the brain to repair and replenish brain cells. It's like a fertilizer or Miracle-Gro for your neurons. If you don't get enough sleep, this magic fertilizer isn't as plentiful. By the way, you'll be hearing a lot more about BDNF in the module on exercise. The fourth thing that happens in your brain as you sleep, your brain enjoys a long soak in a bathtub full of hormones. A good balance of hormones is important to health, and that includes cognitive health. Sleep is one of the best ways to improve this balance. That's because so many hormones are released as you sleep. These include human growth hormone, which is primarily released during sleep. Human growth hormones restores and rebuilds your tissues. Two hormones, leptin and ghrelin, help control your appetite. They are also released as you sleep. That's why not getting enough sleep makes it so much harder to lose weight. Other hormones released when you sleep help to strengthen your immune system, control your blood sugar, regulate your temperature, and help take you through all the stages of sleep, including REM sleep, which is when you dream. If you don't get adequate sleep, it's very likely you'll pay the price with unbalanced hormones. Let's review. Here's what your brain is supposed to be doing as you sleep. Cleaning out debris and waste from the brain. Consolidating and organizing memories and learning from the day. Renewing its cells and generating new ones. And balancing hormones to keep you healthy. In designing this series of online courses related to dementia, we place sleep first because it is so foundational. Improve your sleep and you are off and running. But I'm sure you've noticed that you can't make yourself fall asleep. In fact, if you get into bed determined to fall asleep, your determination will probably energize you and keep you awake. The same for stress. We can become so stressed about getting enough sleep that we even have more trouble sleeping than we started with. And organizing a sleep routine to help us relax, we might actually become obsessed with the process and end up more tense. Tracking our sleep can end up doing the same thing. There has been a time in my life when I approached the time for sleep as if I were going into battle. The more we think about sleep, the less likely it becomes. That's because sleep isn't something we do. It's something we fall into. Something that overtakes us, something we slip into. So what can we possibly do? The best answer I found has to do with your circadian rhythm. Lesson 2. The importance of your circadian rhythm. Every living thing on Earth, from the smallest fruit fly to the most massive redwood tree, has an internal clock that adapts the organism to the rhythm of the Earth's rotation. This clock is called the circadian clock, and it produces a rhythm in our bodies called the circadian rhythm. This is not fringe science. In 2017, the Nobel Prize in Medicine was given to 3 scientists who studied the internal clock that we all have inside us, and the more scientists studied this rhythm, the more it explains about how our bodies operate. Among other things, your circadian rhythm determines how well you sleep, the speed of your metabolism, your hormone balance, and the effectiveness of exercise. The Nobel Prize Committee gave their award to scientists studying the circadian rhythm because a deeper understanding of how our circadian clock operates and how we can use this information to optimize our health is so valuable. There's a lot of biology involved, and cells and mechanisms and other science, but here are the bare basics you need to know to optimize your own health, or more specifically, your sleep. Through your day, 3 things need to increase together and decrease together: light, food, and movement. In the morning, we need to expose ourselves to light, we need to eat, and we need to move our bodies. These 3 cause a release of cortisol, the daytime hormone which wakes up our body's processes. Noradrenaline, another hormone, also rises in response to light, and this increases our heart rate and blood pressure, causes glucose to be released from storage, and increases blood flow to our muscles. Insulin, which regulates our blood sugar, is also most effective in the morning. Important information for people who have type 2 diabetes. Your core body temperature also increases during the day. Why is understanding all of this so important for improving your sleep? Because just as your body becomes primed to be awake when cortisol, noradrenaline, blood pressure, and body temperature go up, your body gets primed for sleep when your cortisol, noradrenaline, blood pressure, and body temperature go down. These two processes are complementary, interconnected, and dependent on each other. This is why a good night's sleep starts with what you do in the morning. Get sunlight, eat, and exercise, and then what needs to go up will go up. In the evening, decreasing bright lights, slowing down your movement, and halting your eating will result in a release of melatonin, which helps us get ready for sleep. Easy sleep, without a battle, or stress, or anxiety. And all of the other things that prepare the body for sleep fall into place: a calm heart, lower body temperature, and resting digestive system. With this process in place, you will be ready to begin your evening slide into relaxation and sleep. Unfortunately, we humans have done a great job of messing up what should be an easy, natural path to better sleep. We work inside during the day, away from the sun and the bright light that we need, and then, at night, when we should have decreasing light, we turn on bright white lights and stare at screens that emit a blue light. This blue light confuses our internal clock into thinking it's daytime. We also tend to eat too late into the evening, snacks and sweet desserts, just when we should be slowing our digestion down to get ready for sleep. To make things even worse, evening is often the only time that people have for exercise, so instead of cooling down our bodies and lowering our blood pressure, we ramp it up. What is the price for defying our body's natural rhythms? That price is our sleep and our weight and our stress and our messed up digestion and our lack of energy. But let's dig a little deeper into sleep right now. Lesson 3. Syncing your circadian rhythm for better sleep. I want to start by saying that many of us have to work at night, which works against our natural circadian rhythm. I used to work the night shift in the ER, so I slept during the day. I made that work for a while, but it became harder and harder on my body, so I stopped working at night. At my age, I am happy to take advantage of my circadian rhythm to help me stay healthy. And some people have an even more difficult work schedule. Over the course of a week or two, they have to shift from day schedules to night schedules. I hope they're all young. On top of that, we all have our personal preferences. Some people go to bed and get up later than I do, and some people get tired earlier in the evening and habitually get up quite early. So we are all different, but our rhythms tend to follow a predictable 24-hour pattern based on light and temperature, and we can accommodate this rhythm by adjusting our light, food, and movement through those 24 hours. At this point, I would like to take you through a typical day, even though I know that your morning may not begin at the same time as mine. Your morning may begin at 8 p.m. or the middle of the night. That's fine, but you can still try 7 a.m. but instead at 7 p.m. 24-hour day showing how you can sync your activities to an optimal rhythm. I'm going to do it based on natural light and temperature. But remember that if necessary, you can use artificial light instead to create a good rhythm. We'll start with some preliminaries. Environmental concerns. These are one-and-done steps to take that are vitally important. Make it so your bedroom can be as dark as possible. Get blackout curtains and put a dark sticker or duct tape over any appliances with lights, such as air filters, humidifiers, and aromatherapy diffusers. Darken anything in nearby rooms that allows light to filter into your bedroom, or plan on keeping your door closed. This will help you sleep better. Find a way to dampen the sound in your bedroom. You can use a fan, an air purifier, a white noise machine, earplugs, or some other method. Install red light bulbs in your bathroom so you can go back to sleep quickly after getting up during the night. You may also want to install a red nightlight in the kitchen so that you have an alternative to the white light you'll want in the morning. Now we'll go through a 24-hour day, starting with whenever your morning is. Morning. What you do in the morning affects how well you sleep at night because waking and sleeping are both part of your circadian rhythm. For your morning routines, I suggest the following. Avoid the snooze button. Get up at the same time every day, including on the weekend. This is very important. People who stay up on weekend nights and get up much later than they usually do experience what we call social jet lag. Without traveling anywhere, they have nevertheless switched time zones, and this erratic schedule messes horribly with their natural circadian rhythm. Over time, social jet lag contributes to chronic disease, including dementia. I sympathize. It's so easy to stay up late on Friday. It's the weekend. But chances are you will still wake up at your normal time, especially if you are older, and then you are sleep deprived during the day. If you do manage to sleep in later on Saturday and Sunday, you'll pay the piper on Monday morning when you have to get up at your normal time. Seriously, if you listen to your body and stick to your evening routine bedtime and wake-up times, you'll get to sleep more easily and wake up more refreshed. Introduce bright light as soon as possible into your morning. Bright light signals the release of cortisol, the wake-up hormone. Ideally, you would get this bright light from sunlight, so open your curtains and let the light in. Even better, take a 10-minute walk in the sunshine. Bright white light in your kitchen will work in a pinch. Winter can mess with this. I live in Illinois. During winter, sunrise can come as late as 7:15 a.m., so getting morning sunlight can be hard. If you also have long winter nights, you might want to purchase a 10,000 lux energy light. This will mimic sunlight. Every morning, put it near you, about 16 to 24 inches away, and keep it there for 20 to 30 minutes after you first wake up in the morning. This will help encourage wakefulness when you need it most. Eat breakfast at the same time every morning. A regular breakfast helps to sync your internal clock with the outside world. Food will activate your gut and get digestion started so that your pancreas releases insulin and the liver does its thing. You don't need a huge breakfast. Oatmeal or avocado toast or a smoothie can be enough to get your hormones moving. Exercise. Exercise in the morning will raise your heart rate and warm up your body. If you exercise outside, this will expose you to sunlight. Even a cloudy day's sunlight is helpful. It doesn't have to be a lot of exercise. Even a 10 to 15-minute walk will work to wake up your body. As I mentioned earlier, 3 things signal that it's daytime: light, food, and movement. You need all 3 to signal the hormones and start the changes in your body to make you alert and ready for the day, and so your body can signal when it is time for sleep. During the day, limit caffeine to the morning. If that seems extreme, experiment with what you can handle. Many people enjoy coffee in the early afternoon, but if you drink it too late in the afternoon, it may keep you awake at night. Hydrate. We all wake up in a dehydrated state, so drink early in the day. Getting enough water is very important for your cognitive health. It also improves your heartbeat, body temperature, joints, organs, and tissue and muscle growth and healing. If possible, eat your main meal at lunchtime. The old advice to eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper is good for your circadian rhythm. Be very careful about naps. Avoid them if possible because these can make it very hard to sleep at night. If you must nap, do so in the early afternoon and for 20 minutes only. In other words, take a power nap. Some people drink coffee before this nap. They say it helps them wake up refreshed and ready to work again after a brief nap. Stay somewhat active during the day. Activity will help you stay alert during the day, and you'll be better prepared for sleep in the evening. If you have a job where you sit all day, every hour or so, schedule a brief walk in the hallway, up and down a flight or 2 of stairs, or even around the building. Stop eating before your chosen time of sunset. Scientists who study the circadian rhythm advise restricting your eating to 8 to 12 hours during the day. Time-restricted eating, or TRE, can have a dramatic effect on your health, especially any chronic diseases you have, and it will probably help you lose weight. For more information, see the video presentation by Dr. Sachin Panda, included in list of resources at the end of this module. So if you eat breakfast at 7 a.m., you'll need to stop eating by 7 p.m. in the evening. And it's even better if you can regularly stop eating earlier, perhaps by 5:30 or 6 p.m. This is easier to achieve if you are retired. I know a couple in their 70s who rarely ever eat after lunch. Others eat breakfast at 8 a.m. and stop eating after 4 p.m. Dr. Panda explains why this is so helpful to your health. But not everyone can make a schedule like this work. If eating dinner is part of your family routine, or your work schedule or commute keeps you out late, stop your eating 3 hours before your bedtime. This is optimal for falling asleep easily. Choose your dinner carefully. A very full stomach will disturb your sleep, as will hunger, so eat moderately. Certain foods are also likely to disturb your sleep. Highly acidic foods like tomato soup, spicy foods like hot salsa, foods high in fat or fiber, these are harder to digest. Dark chocolate, which has caffeine, candy and desserts, which cause sugar spikes that disturb sleep, alcohol and soft drinks. Remember that insulin is most effective earlier in the day, so if you can't live without ice cream, eat it after lunch rather than after dinner. Evening. Sunset is when nature begins getting you ready for sleep. The sun goes down, the temperature decreases. If we lived in a completely natural environment, all this would happen around us. But instead, we live in artificial environments, for which I'm happy, with artificial lights and heating. So it's up to us to create an environment in our homes that mimics twilight. This will signal your body to release melatonin, a hormone that gets us ready to fall asleep. And when should this artificial twilight take place? I suggest 3 hours before you plan to go to sleep. This will give you 3 hours to begin your long slide into relaxation and sleep. Here are the adjustments that will help your circadian rhythm switch over to nighttime. For light, install amber light bulbs wherever you spend your evening hours. White light includes light from the blue portion of the spectrum, which energizes you. I also think overhead lights energize us. Light from the red or amber portion of the spectrum, like sunset lighting, relaxes you. So if you want to fall asleep easily, mimic sunset and twilight by turning off overhead lights and installing amber or red colored light bulbs wherever you spend your evening. Install blue light filters on your computer and personal devices. Most devices allow you to schedule this option. Blue light filters will protect you from the energizing nature of blue light emitted from your devices. You may also want to purchase amber-colored glasses or clip-on versions to wear while watching television. Filters for a television are available, but they are a lot more expensive than glasses or clip-ons. For temperature, adjust your thermostat between 60 and 67 degrees. This will help lower your core temperature, which is what happens in nature during the night. Your body wants this cooler temperature. For food, resist eating anything 3 hours before bedtime. During sleep, just as your brain does, your digestive system repairs itself and removes toxins, if it can take a break from digesting your food. If you keep eating right up until bedtime, you will inhibit this process and disrupt your sleep. 3 hours without food will give your body time to digest your evening food before it begins its sleep routines. For exercise, a short, leisurely walk during twilight can be beneficial for your sleep. I take a walk most evenings with my dog. I let the evening cool off my body and my brain. My food digests, and I meditate as I walk, and I soak my body with good hormones that get me ready for sleep. My evening walk is one of the best parts of my day. Just remember, if you do walk, make it a relaxing walk. Here are some tips for encouraging that long, slow slide into sleepiness. As early in the evening as possible, address any remaining tasks you need to complete before bedtime. It's best to do these before dinner, if possible, because the tasks tend to rev up your brain, the opposite of what you need to fall asleep easily. Examples: planning a presentation with your book club, making a plane reservation, confronting your partner about a problem, rushing to make a covered dish for a potluck the next day. Of course, there are times you can't avoid these, but as a rule, serene is what you want. Long, lazy breaths and a deepening sense of peace. As soon as possible in the evening, do something relaxing like reading, playing music, knitting, or just sitting and talking. Many people find routine evening chores relaxing because they signal that the day is over and it's time to wind down. If you like watching TV in the evening, watch something that doesn't tend to make you tense or scared or anxious. My colleague likes to watch Beat Bobby Flay before heading into her bedroom routine. She finds it relaxing, and it signals sleep for her. You might also meditate in the evening if that calms you. In the evening, cut back on hydration, especially if you tend to get up often during the night. For a number of reasons, as we age, we tend to get up more often at night to go to the bathroom. Decreasing hydration can help, but if it's a real problem, please talk to your doctor. Your sleep is important. The importance of a routine. When bedtime is approaching, perhaps an hour or 30 minutes away, It's time to slip into a predictable, consistent routine that communicates in a deeper level that it's time for sleep. A routine takes our mind off our difficulty getting to sleep. This is especially valuable for people who stress about getting to sleep. Author Amanda Hull says, being conscious of how much you want to sleep is among the biggest and most common barriers to actually sleeping. A routine helps ease this pressure. A routine helps to keep us calm because we don't have to decide what to do next. No decision equals less stress. And whatever worked last night and the night before is likely to work again tonight, and that also decreases our anxiety. No wonder so many parents use routines with their children. Bath, pajamas, bedtime story, and lights off. You probably already have at least some things you do every evening. You take the dog out or feed the cat. You put on your nightwear. You brush your teeth, wash your face, go to the bathroom. If you have trouble falling asleep, you might want to add a few more steps to your routine, steps that will keep you relaxed. Many people enjoy taking a warm bath before bed. As long as the water isn't too hot, this bath will help bring your core temperature down, which is optimal for falling asleep. You can find more details on this option and other suggestions for your routine in the handout entitled Bedtime Routines, attached to this module. Just remember, this routine is your tool, created by you for your own comfort. You can choose whatever you want to include in your routine, these or other activities. I've heard that it can take up to 2 months to figure out a really good sleep best routine, so take your time. And if something you thought might help actually becomes a struggle, drop it from your routine. This isn't the time for anything that requires work or discipline or struggle. With an optimal evening and bedtime routines, you will find your muscles relaxing, your breath becoming more regular, and peace overtaking you. Then, when you go into the bedroom and put your head on your pillow, sleep will be easy. Because this is true. Sleep is actually a natural part of life. Your body wants to help you get the sleep you need, and it will be able to do this so much more easily if you stop obsessing about how much you need to get to sleep or worrying about what you should be doing to make sleep easier. Night. Before you enter your bedroom, ask yourself, are you ready to fall asleep? Are you pain-free and stress-free? Have you set aside your worries? If you're concerned about your daughter, perhaps you should call her. If you're concerned about an upcoming event, make a list of things to discuss the next day. You have made your room ready with silence and darkness and cool temperatures. Are you just as ready inside yourself? If not, step back and figure out how to bring yourself to a place where you are relaxed and ready for sleep. Consider leaving your devices outside the bedroom, especially if you are prone to checking social media, reading the latest news, or playing a few games before trying to get to sleep. These all work against relaxation, especially video games that are timed or are races. Up goes the adrenaline. If you find yourself tempted to use your devices for these reasons, try letting them recharge in the dining room or the den rather than by your bed. Of course, I know some people use meditation or calming apps to help them get to sleep and get back to sleep. If you find those particularly helpful, go ahead and use them, but still avoid social media, the news, and stressful games. Choose a bedtime that fits your life. Some people naturally want to go to sleep earlier and others later. Listen to your body and set your bedtime routine accordingly. Just be sure to get enough sleep. I suggest 7.5 to 8.5 hours every night. Most of all, listen to your body. If you are getting enough sleep, you will feel refreshed when you wake up. Go to bed and get up in the morning at the same time every day. I repeat this again here because it is so important. Turn clocks so that you can't see them. You don't want to be worrying about the time during the night. One day, you may not need the clock at all, especially as an alarm clock. It is so much better to wake naturally, which will happen if you go to sleep and get up at the same time. That way you avoid the unnatural fight or flight response that an alarm clock causes. It can reasonably take up to 20 minutes to fall asleep. We hope you'll fall asleep effortlessly and comfortably without ever being aware of time passing. But if not, if you become aware that time is passing and you begin wondering if you will successfully fall asleep, Try to find something to think about that is very calming and relaxing. We have included suggestions for what you might think about in a handout at the end of the module entitled "A Variety of Suggestions for Falling Asleep." Some people have trouble staying asleep during the night. If you wake up often during the night, tell your doctor about it. You might have a medical problem that is causing this. If you wake up to go to the bathroom, you'll appreciate the red nightlights in your bathroom. These will protect your eyes from bright light so you are more likely to fall back to sleep easily. Keep water by your bed so you don't have to go to the kitchen for a drink, but don't drink a lot. Older people often have trouble needing to go to the bathroom during the night. If you can't get back to sleep after about 20 minutes, get up, go to a nearby room, and do something relaxing. Nothing stimulating. Boring is good. Return to bed only when you feel sleepy. Whatever you do, please do not eat. If you do, you'll be telling your body it's time to wake up, and getting back to sleep will be even harder. Regarding prescription medications and over-the-counter drugs, please don't. Side effects can ruin your health, and studies show that they hinder your ability to enjoy deep sleep, and that's bad. And what about taking over-the-counter melatonin? First, talk to your doctor. Melatonin is a hormone that helps us feel sleepy. Production of melatonin decreases with age, so your doctor might approve your taking it, especially if inability to get to sleep is affecting your health. Unfortunately, many scientists believe that once you start taking melatonin, your body may produce less of it, making it harder and harder for you to get to sleep without it. So bear that in mind if you decide to take it. Also, take as little as possible. Start with 1 milligram and go no higher than 3 milligrams, and take the melatonin 2 or 3 hours before you want to go to sleep. Your body releases melatonin when the sun goes down, so that's the time for you to take it. Before leaving the middle of the night, I want to address one more serious issue: obstructive sleep apnea. This condition causes people to have breaks in their breathing during the night. The breaks last 10 or more seconds. People with sleep apnea can have 20 to 30 breaks in their sleep every hour. I myself was a victim of obstructive sleep apnea. The kind that I had caused the muscles in the back of my throat to close my airway. When this happened, I couldn't breathe and I woke up in a panic, just as we all would if we were suddenly unable to breathe. This happened multiple times to me each hour. Usually, waking up allows a person with sleep apnea to begin breathing again, but one night when I woke up, I couldn't catch my breath. My eyes were wide open, I was awake, but I could not breathe. That's when I decided I had to see my doctor. He prescribed a device that helped keep my airways open at nighttime. Before using this device, I had been getting groggy and foggy during the day, but afterwards, I had my new energy back, and no wonder, I was once again getting the sleep that I needed. I have attached a handout to this module with information about sleep apnea, the different kinds, and the symptoms that means it's time to go see a doctor. Please don't hesitate to seek treatment if you suspect sleep apnea. Sleep apnea, like many other sleep disorders, increases your risk of dementia. This concludes the lesson on using circadian rhythm to improve your sleep. I've asked my colleague, Marilyn Koch, to speak to you about creating an action plan that will help improve your sleep and decrease your risk of dementia.
Lesson 4. How to create your personal action plan for better sleep. Hello, my name is Marilyn Koch. I work with Dr. Saga at Interact WellCare, a dementia education program. I'm 65, and because of chronic health problems and heredity, I have many risks for dementia that I'm trying to decrease. Dr. Saga has asked me to help you create a plan that will help you apply what you have learned so far about sleep. I've included a brief description of my personal attempts to improve my sleep in the handouts at the end of this module. That's not because I expect you to follow what I did. Far from it. I began a long time ago, and at the beginning, I just didn't know what I was doing. But you might find my story helpful. Remember, you have a lot of choices in what you choose to apply in your own life, and that if something doesn't work, there are many options. No failures here, only experiments that need revising. Before starting, however, I want to acknowledge the work of one person that I have found very helpful. Lifestyle changes like the ones I have tried to make in my own life are really about changing behavior. And one of the preeminent scholars in behavior design is BJ Fogg. I highly recommend his book, Tiny Habits. It's so sensible. I've acknowledged some other sources in the handouts that accompany this module. How to create your own dementia action plan for sleep. Begin by completing the self-assessment that is attached to this module. It is called a 7-day self-assessment. This self-assessment will help you figure out what you are doing with sleep right now. Stop the program now and take a look at that. I hope you will complete this before attempting to institute any new habits. But please, limit your assessment to 1 week. Obsessing about sleep makes it an enemy to conquer, and it's not. It's a wonderful gift and a linchpin to your health. And you don't need the adrenaline that builds up when you think about enemies. 1. Based on what you learned from your assessment, list as many general ways you can think of to work on your sleep. No limits. We've provided a brainstorming form for you to use. You can use your notes from this module or look back through the video. Your self-assessment will also help. 2. From this list, isolate one-time actions. These are the low-hanging fruit because they do not require habit changes. Many involve environmental changes, like light-canceling shades for your bedroom, a noisemaker, or perhaps purchasing a 10,000 LUX light therapy lamp to use on overcast or winter days. Make these your first step in your action plan for sleep. 3. Now, choose 5 items you are most interested in working on, preferably some in the morning and some in the evening. If you prefer, you can choose just 1 or 2 items. This is your plan, no one else's. To be honest, in my own life, I usually end up working on only 2 or 3 new habits each time I do this. It's best to make this something you want to do, something attractive, according to James Clear in Atomic Habits. This is because we're more likely to do what we want to do. 4. For each of the 5 items you're interested in addressing, get specific about what you can do to achieve both. This means, again, listing as many actions that you can think of. If you want to work on the bedtime routine, you could list take a warm bath, drink herbal tea, watch a relaxing show, pet your dog or cat for a few minutes, meditate, or start a gratitude journal. Make this list for each of the 5 items you choose and have some fun doing it. 5. Now narrow these specific choices down to 1 item only, the one you are most interested in doing. This will be the first habit you work on. But here's what makes BJ Fogg's system so brilliant. Make this action so small that even if you aren't always motivated to do something, you're still likely to do this one tiny action because why not? It's easy and doesn't take much time. This is brilliant, especially for someone like me who hates discipline and structure in my life. BJ Fogg uses the example from his own life of flossing 1 tooth only, which, by the way, eventually led him to a consistent habit of flossing all his teeth. But it was the tininess that made the habit possible. So if you want to drink a mug of herbal tea every evening during your last TV show, your small action might be, I'll put a mug on the counter. Or if you want to get out of bed more promptly in the morning, your small action might be, I will sit up and put my feet on the floor. You might lay right back down, but that's okay. You've done the small action that will eventually lead you to getting out of bed more promptly. Do this for each of the 5 actions you decided to work on first. 6. Now for each of the 5 actions, figure out what will remind you to do the behavior. Some people call this a trigger. Others call it a prompt. Charles Duhigg of The Power of Habit calls it a cue. We have many cues in our lives, like waking up and wanting coffee for some people, or smiling when we hear a certain song. For our action plan, however, we need to choose the cue that will remind us to do our little action. Some are easy. Like for putting your feet on the floor after you wake up, your cue can be the alarm clock. For others, you'll want to think of something that already happens in your day and schedule your tiny action after that. So before we go to bed, my husband and I often watch Beat Bobby Flay. It's our one last show. So if I want to drink herbal tea to help calm me down for sleep, my cue would be, as soon as it's time for Bobby Flay, I'll put a mug on the counter for tea. This has actually been a very easy habit to add to my bedtime routine. Figure out your cue or prompt for each of the little actions that you've chosen. 7. Now add one more thing to each of your actions: a celebration. This is another of BJ Fogg's brilliant ideas. Perhaps that's because BJ Fogg's specialty is behavior, not habit formation. He understands how vitally important celebrations are to behavior, and that's really what we want to change when we think of lifestyle changes. Here's an example of a celebration from my life. After I take my walk, I do arm curls with 2 5-pound weights, and then I say out loud, "Yay, I did it!" This usually takes place near my husband's computer, and when he sees me do my little routine, he often laughs and says, "You're so cute." And that's part of the celebration as well. He's pretty great, by the way. Here's another example. After I finish my work in the kitchen, I make sure to clear off one of the counters. I'm going to get to all the counters someday soon. And when I'm done, I act like I'm showing off the counter to someone and say, "I'm a neat person." And someday, I really will be. One more thing from BJ Fogg. He says that if your celebration is a good one, what you'll experience is shine, that wonderful feeling of accomplishment. I love that feeling. 8. Write down your action steps on a card or Post-it note. After I blank, I will blank, the new habit, and then I will blank, the celebration. Stick these cards up where you will see them, and when you pass them, if you have followed through on one, give it a little pat and say, "Yep, I'm doing it." After all, you don't have to limit yourself to one celebration. These 5 new habits are the first rung in your action plan for sleep. As time goes on, these habits will scale up until you have made the full habits part of your everyday life. As you progress, you can add new habits, like getting 10 minutes of sunshine in the morning, or avoiding food after a chosen time in the evening. As you add each habit to your life, you'll find that your sleep improves. If it doesn't, please talk to your doctor. Sleep is so important. I wish you all the best.
Sleep, fact or fiction?
I can catch up on sleep on the weekend.
False. You may be able to erase some of your sleep debt, but you cannot erase the damage that deprivation has done to your brain or to your health during the week. This sleep routine will also cause long-term sleeping problems, including social jet lag, a form of sleep deprivation associated with our modern lifestyle. Do you count on extra sleep during the weekend?
Snoring is not a problem for my health.
True, for some people. Snoring could be a sign of sleep apnea, a life-threatening sleep disorder, or other serious problems. Snoring can also cause problems, so please talk to your doctor if you snore. Do you snore? Have you talked to your doctor about it?
Alcohol helps me sleep.
False. Alcohol may help you get to sleep, but it interferes with your REM sleep, which you need. This is when your brain consolidates memories. Do you regularly have a nightcap before you sleep?
You need less sleep as you get older.
False. Experts recommend 7 to 9 hours of sleep for all adults, no matter their age.
Sleep helps me lose weight.
True. Sleep helps to balance hormones that regulate appetite and the speed at which we burn calories. Did you know that good sleep helps you lose weight?
Getting enough sleep can help you look younger.
True. Human growth hormone is produced during sleep. This hormone helps with tissue repair, hair growth, heart health, and many other anti-aging benefits. How supple and smooth is your skin?
During sleep, your brain is resting.
False. The brain does some of its most important work when you are sleeping, and some of it is vital to reducing your risk of dementia. What happens in the brain as you sleep that reduces your risk of dementia?
If you wake up in the middle of the night after about 20 minutes, you should get up and do something relaxing, like reading or listening to music.
True. Bed is for sleeping and romance, not tossing and turning and worrying about how long you are staying awake. When you get up, keep lights dim, stay away from any kind of screens, avoid looking at the clock, and go back to bed only when you feel sleepy. How many times each week do you wake up in the middle of the night and have trouble getting back to sleep?
Napping can be beneficial.
True. A nap in the early afternoon of 20 to 30 minutes can boost alertness, but avoid longer naps or naps later in the day. This will likely hinder your sleep. How can you limit a daytime nap to 30 minutes or less?
exercise can improve sleep.
True. Early morning is best, but avoid exercise in the hours before sleep. Have you noticed that exercise in the evening keeps you awake? Please send your own fact or fiction entries, answers to questions, or other suggestions to info@interactwellcare.com. We would love to hear from you. Facts about sleep apnea, a life-threatening sleep disorder. What it is. People with sleep apnea have breaks in their breathing during the night that last at least 10 seconds. People can have 20 to 30 breaks each hour. Risk associated with cognitive decline. Sleep apnea is a major risk factor for cognitive decline. Kinds of sleep apnea. Number 1. Obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA. This is the most common kind of sleep apnea. The muscles in the back of the throat don't keep the airway open. This makes it hard to keep breathing. OSA can easily be treated with a continuous positive airway pressure device. Number 2. Central sleep apnea. The brain doesn't send the right messages to the muscles that control breathing. This is a less common form of sleep apnea. Central sleep apnea can result from heart trouble or a stroke. Treating the cause helps with the problem, but sometimes a breathing device or extra oxygen is used to treat the condition. Symptoms, or when to see a doctor. Number 1. Snoring. Not everyone who snores has sleep apnea, but it is a strong indicator of sleep apnea. See your doctor if your partner or family complain about your loud snoring. Number 2. Noticeable breaks in your breathing. Urgently see your doctor if your partner or someone in your family says you seem to stop breathing and then gasp for air. Number 3. Waking up often to go to the bathroom. Number 4. Inability to get back to sleep. Number 5. Gender differences. A. Snoring. This symptom occurs more often in men. B. Breaks in breathing while asleep. This also occurs more often in men. C. Insomnia and daytime sleepiness. These are common symptoms in women. Number 6. Daytime symptoms. A. Memory and concentration problems. B. Fatigue and sleepiness. C. Morning headaches. D. Irritability. E. Decreased libido. Consequences of sleep apnea. Cognitive impairment, heart failure, coronary artery disease, atrial fibrillation, stroke, depression, metabolic syndrome, hypertension, decreased quality of life, drowsy driving and increased risk of accidents, decreased life expectancy. Risk factors for sleep apnea. Gender. Men are at greater risk until women reach menopause. Age. Risk increases with age. Race. A slightly higher risk among African Americans, Hispanics, and people of Chinese descent than among Caucasians. Obesity, especially if your body mass index, or BMI, is over 30.